There are three universities that we are offering the pathway programs, as you are all very well aware. I'm going to take you university by university and share the details with you. So, Up Education, we are the largest pathway provider. We are a very much New Zealand based organization. And in 2019 is when we started the pathway programs in Australia. So, Up Education was earlier used to known as ACG Group. So, some of you might have heard the name, some of you might found it new. So, all I say is that once you're done with the session, go a little Google about us, you'll get a more clarity. So we are very much in existence for more than 25 years, and we've been delivering the great pathway programs with the top universities. I'm sure that speaks very high about the quality of work that we are doing. So without wasting any time further, let me start with the session. So the first university that I'm going to speak to you about is Charles Darwin University. And when it comes to pathway, we call it as a Charles Darwin University International College. So what do we have for the presentation today? Under this presentation, I will be taking you through with two segments of the courses. One is which is for the bachelor's and the other which is for the master's pathway available. So let us learn a little about university. So Charles Darwin University is based in regional location. It's in Northern Territory. I'm sure most of you must have get these students who come and approach to you about the Australia, as a destination for their further studies. They always come to you and also say that we have a budget constraint or we're looking for the options which are more pocket friendly. Regional locations are always been the best solution for those students, not just because of the location as regional, but also because the university is level 1 and the university is among the top 2% in the worldwide university ranking. Charles Darwin University has been among the top 5 universities within Australia for their employability rate. So their employability rate, and I think this is always the main outcome that students always look for, the employability part. So that ranges from 92% to 96%. And this is something you can go and check on their website as well. They have a very flexible programs that they're offering to these students. Some of the programs doesn't even need a student to have a specific background to apply for. And some of the programs indeed ask you to have a certain set of learning to apply to. Also, Charles Darwin University, if you look at the location, the cost of living is 1/4 if you stay in Darwin, comparing if a student stay in Melbourne or Sydney. So it's exactly 1/4. So it go below half of your expenditure on the cost of living that's there. The other reason why students are interested in regional locations because of the pay wage system. So when it comes to part-time, I'm not too sure if you're aware or not. I believe most of you must be aware though, that in the regional locations, the part-time pay wages are high as compared to the main cities. So when we're talking about the regional location and especially about Darwin, the pay wage system on over weekdays, it's a bit between 22 to 24 per hour dollars, and on weekends it's about 25 to 29 per hour dollars that student can earn while working part-time there. So that's another advantage. And then comes to the post-study work right. So the post-study work right usually in regional location is for 3 years. You get another one more year add-on, but that is all depends on how you after finishing your respective course, how do you do well during that a legal time of a stay back, and it's subject to the immigration decision if they want to add one more year to your post-study work right or not. So if we remove that additional 1 year and focus on the 3 years, I think that's quite good enough for a student to consider to study in with Charles Darwin University. And because it's of course a top university too, why not to study with? So about the online learning, as we all know, with the given circumstances, I know the student doesn't like to look at this online learning part or in fact to even talk about it. But being very, very practical, and I'm sure you are more than aware that the knowledge that I may have, but as you could see that Australia is progressing with respect to the vaccination part. They are progressing with respect to, calling the students back. One important information that you must have is that students who either studying online or if they are in their final years, or if they are joining the coming intake as online, even if it's with a reduced study load, will be the one who will be considered to call back on priority. All right, which does not mean they call everybody together. They will call students in phases. So any student who's very stubborn that I will only study on campus, I'm honestly doubtful if they can travel even next year. Then they have to wait for 2024. And I'm being very practical, very honest about you on this part. So if any student start the course online, could see themselves may fly after 3 to 4 months. Again, it is subject to how the government is going to process the thing into the structure, which the kind of announcements they have made. But seeing the vaccination is going almost going to touch 90% by the mid of December, you could see in all probability student will be flying. Especially about Charles Darwin, if you remember in 2020, they were the only university in the entire globe who actually got the student back on campus by running the charter flight. So they have again, requested the proposal with the government for the approval to get students back on campus, especially from India. And it's not going to be like a 70, 80 student. It's a big plane, a regular big plane they're going to have to call back the students. So if you have students interested in, you make sure that whichever intake they're going to go for, instead of deferring, they should take up some units online for their further study. So we have a very smooth running system for online studies. There never been any technical glitch. If at all arrive, we have a good technical support team who assists students. Everything is accessible 24/7. Even if our internet is of a 2 Mbps speed, as long as the student is able to do a call, as long as they're able to hear clearly and see clearly, I don't think it should be a problem. And as much as you experience, I experienced, when it comes to online learning, everybody internet doesn't work. But when it comes to anything else, it start working. And trust me, the moment the student get to know they can fly, everybody internet will be working at a full speed. So I think we have to really make student to understand that they should take it seriously. About Darwin, as I have already mentioned to you, it's a regional location. It's very, very small. It's been very, very famous for its beautiful sunset, its natural scenery, food, and art. Other than that, because of less populated, it's always very comfortable for a student to adjust in. They always feel, those who are already been in Darwin feel Darwin as their second home. People are very, very warm, welcoming, not just the community people, but even the staff at the university campus is very, very warm, welcoming. They take care of a student to an extent that they make sure that initial 3-4 months, that the time that student takes to get in settled, they stay in regular touch to make student feel comfortable and at home. So that's something amazing about Darwin that I can always, feel very high to talk about. And when it comes to the weather, it's just like Bombay weather. It's hot, it's humid, it's always sort of humid climate they have. They don't have winters there. So yeah, so I don't think handling the weather condition with Darwin is going to be a big challenge for any student coming from any part of India. About scholarships, though I will be talking in detail later, but just to give you a little idea, so scholarship, we across all the programs that we offer ranges from 15% to 20%. And the scholarship that Darwin offers, the CDU offers, it's like a progression scholarship. So the current year that you study, you don't get scholarship then, but you get in the next year that you progress to. That's how it is. Okay. So when I go on that slide and speak in detail about it, you'll get more clarity. So let's start with the program. The first program that I'm going to speak to you about is Foundation, which leads to bachelor's first year. So Foundation program is basically for those students who have completed year 11th of their schooling, grade 11th or class 11th. So anybody who has completed year 11, have a percentage of 60 or 65 and above, is actually eligible to study Foundation. So Foundation is like a bridge program. You do not really need to do your 12th. After finishing 11th, you join Foundation. The duration of Foundation is about 8 months. After finishing that, you join the first year bachelor's program with the university. How does it attract students? You save your complete more than a year's time that you have to spend in doing your year 12. You save a lot of money because of the tuition, the school fee, and all that. The third important factor is that you get a guarantee admission. Okay, your students study in the university campus. It's not because it's pathway they go somewhere else, study somewhere else, then come back to Darwin. No, from day one they will be university students, and this is the biggest advantage. You have assurance that you are into the university bachelor's program. What else do you need? So any student completed year 11, I think you're good to go to start promoting about this, because of a given situation, circumstances of COVID, and so much of changes into the education system as well, the examination system as well, wherein students are highly stressful right now because they have boards one term now and another term later, and how the result going to be, nobody knows. So if you have such categories of students and they are very sure that yes, I want to go Australia and study, you can please feel free and apply to them to this. This is not the first time we are running the program. This program is going on for ages, so do not worry. Visas are granted very easily as long as your paperwork is good enough, as long as you're submitting all the required documents. I don't think that should be a big challenge at all, and we will be covering that part later. The one important thing you need to keep in mind is that your student must be of 17 or above when they start the program, which means when you make the application, it's fine, whatever the age they be at, doesn't matter. But you have to make sure when they start the course, they need to be 17 and above. That is one condition you have to keep in mind when you are approaching student for the foundation program. All right. And what this guarantee to? It's guarantee to the entry into the university first year bachelor's. The fee for this program is 20,800 Australian dollars. This is a total duration fee that you have to pay, and this you pay semester wise. So there are going to be 2 semesters. So one semester you pay 10,400. Then the next semester you pay 10,400. The duration I have already indicated to you earlier. It's 8 to 9 months that you finish the course. There are 3 intakes we have. So now the next intake is in March next year. All right. So you can make the applications now. You get enough time, and then once all done, you apply for the visa. So I think by the time students start the course, would also have a visa in their hand. The English requirement that you need to keep in mind is that we're looking for overall IELTS 5.5 band with no band less than 5. All right. We do accept PTE. We do accept TOEFL. Whatever score that your student has, you can make the application with that. And I'm sure you must be happy seeing this, because this is not a very big English requirement that a university is asking for to study foundation. So the higher the English proficiency is, the better is for a student. But nothing lower than this is acceptable. Okay. All right. So foundation study program, what does it lead to? So 2 things you have to keep in mind, and this is, I think, something very common with across all the universities. To progress to any level of the course, you have to pass in the current program, right? So same thing applies here. Your student has to pass in all the units. They usually study 8 units overall. Each semester 4 units, which I don't think is really a big task for the student to do. They perform very well. And why I'm saying that? Because we provide additional tutorial support to your students. So it's not just the regular classes they have to attend. Other than that, if they have doubts, if they need any assistance, they just need to write email to the professor and get the extra time to cover up with the part of information they feel they need assistance with. And it's easy subjects. I won't lie about it's very easy to cope up with that. Okay. So they have to pass in all the units. They have to maintain 50% of their GPA. And in English specifically, this is a unit that they study in their foundation. They have to maintain 60% grade in their English unit. Now, whatever be the condition to progress to the next level of course will be there. It will be very clearly indicated in the offer that you will get in the beginning. So do not worry about if there is any hidden information comes to you as a surprise in later stage. No, we work with the transparency, because we know as an agent you have more pressure from a student to get the whole process done. And of course, missing on any information would have a wrong expression, in the later stage. So we are very, very clear with our entire process from the admission offer to student come on board with us. So that's something that you will not find any issues at all. And these are the progression list. So once your student finishes the foundation, now before I actually talk about the progression list, let me give you how does a process actually work. So when the application is being made, after that you get an offer which indicates to you the pathway program details as well as the main program details, which is a confirmed offer that your student gets. All right. So when you even making application for foundation, the offer comes to you for foundation and bachelor's together. Your student from the day one is very well aware that what my conditions that I have to fulfill and which course I'm going to progress to. And these are the listed program that you can recruit your students for when it comes to the bachelor's via foundation. So we have accounting program. There is a bachelor's of arts. We have business, computer science, digital enterprise. There is education primary. There is education secondary. We have a course in early childhood. We have a course in engineering honors and as well as science. There is environmental science. There is exercise and sports science. We have health science. There is health science, and so there is a dual degree available as well. So a student who wants to take up bachelor's and master's combination together, they can. So they will do first year as their bachelor's of health science, and then they move to do specialization in master's in occupational therapy. Then we have similar set of a dual degree option available as speech and language therapy. And these are the two options that they can go for. So instead of completing their bachelor's and master's together in duration of 5 years, you do it here in 4 years. All right. It's just that 8 months of foundation will also be there as a part of, and this is only available via foundation. Okay. If someone doesn't want to do a dual degree and just wants to simple have a health science bachelor's degree, then we have a health service management as well as a course where you could see my cursor. We also have humanitarian aid and development. There is information technology. There is a law program. There is medical laboratory sciences. There is midwifery. There is nursing, psychological science, public health, science, social work, and software engineering. These usually the bachelor's program ranging from 3 years to 4 years, and you could see the intakes are listed here as well. Usually if there is any additional requirement going to be there as a part of the course that student must fulfill before getting into the bachelor's, you will always see listed in the offer as well. All right. Okay. Moving further is about the first year diploma program. Now, what are first year diploma program that we need to understand here? So foundation is one part, which is available for any student completed year 11. Now, diploma first year is like a first year of your bachelor's. Students who have completed their high school, grade 12th, class 12th, or year 12th of their schooling. Of course, we have academic requirement, which I'll cover up in later part of my presentation. So any student who has completed high school, because of some reason cannot get a direct entry into the first year bachelor's program with university. So instead of doing first year as bachelor's, they do first year as diploma. All right. And we are offering this into 3 streams. One is business, one is information technology, and one is in health, leading to bachelor's year 2 of nursing. All right. The English requirement is going to be common for business and information technology, which is IELTS 5.5, no band less than 5. Okay. And the tuition fee for the business program is 25,500. And I will tell you about that when I start talking about it. So let's learn about diploma in business first. So diploma of business studies gives you a choices to do your specialization into these areas. Your student can pick up 2 specializations together. So even if you're doing pathway, it never come as general, but it's more on a very specialization area that you cover in, so that when you do your bachelor's, you continue your specialization in the same. So you have economics, you have human resource management, you have management and marketing. If your student is very keen, they can combine the 2 together. If they want to do single, they can do that as well. The fees remains the same. All right. This is about the core units they study along with the specialist unit. So I don't think I really need to get into that. But what do they progress to? So once you, all right, before that, let me cover this part. So the course is basically of 2 semesters, just like your first year. And you, instead of completing into 12 months, see, 12 months also contains a lot of academic breaks if you do it with university. But when it comes to pathway, this is academic learning period. So you do not really do a lot of breaks in between. You may have 15, 20 20 days of a break or probably a month of a break in between two semesters, but nothing beyond that. So you finishes your course usually within 8 months. And we have 3 intakes for this again as well, which is March, July, and November. And this is how most likely the progression looks like. So once you complete your first year diploma in business, you have these programs available. So you can either progress to bachelor's of business. You can also progress to bachelor's of digital enterprise. So somebody who's very interested in to learn about the social media marketing or digital platforms, they can always go for this program after finishing diploma of business, or you have accounting program available as well. So these are the choices that you can go for. One important thing I want to highlight here, when you make your application, you have to select the combination of progression as well. So do not have this confusion that when you finishes your diploma in business, after that you'll get these choices. No. When you're going to complete when you're going to process your application, that's when you have to pick up the right course selection as well. Moving further is about information and technology. So just like your diploma program in business, you have this option available for students who are very tech savvy and they want to have a specialization in information and technology. So this is again 2-semester program. The fee for this program is about 28,000 Australian dollars, and you finishes in a duration of 9 months. Again, we have 3 intakes for this. The specialization options that you have that you can pick up is between information, communication, technology, and computer science. And you do have core and elective units combination that you have to take it up to study. So core is like compulsory, you have to study all, but elective or optional is like that you have to pick 1 or 2 based on how many units you have to study. You pick accordingly. And this is how the progression looks like. So when you complete your diploma in IT, you can either switch to computer science or you can continue with IT. Again, when you make the application in the beginning, that's when you do your selection. Not afterwards, but when you're making the application, that's when your selection also happens. All right, so what else do we have? We have Diploma in Health. This is a new program we have introduced this year. We're only going to have 1 intake for this, which is going to be in the month of March every year. So any student of yours who is very willing, very much interested in to study nursing, but because of English concern or because of academic concerns cannot apply directly for bachelor's of nursing, they can start Diploma in Health as for the nursing program. The course starting in March, as I have mentioned already to you, what we are aiming for is this program lands you to year 2 in Bachelor's of Nursing. The fee for this program is about 30,000 Australian dollars. The duration is going to be exactly a year long that your student has to complete. The classroom size is going to be about 25 students, not more than that. Not an intake size, but a classroom size. So if we get about 100 students to 25 students, per batch or per classroom we're going to have. The age limit, that it's nothing lower than 17. A student must be either 17 or above. The academic requirement, that student must complete their high school with 50% overall. If it's a state board, then it has to be 60% and overall. The English requirement we have, though, it's 6, no band less than 6. All right. And you must be wondering about it's nursing, it's Australia, why they are taking this. So there's a catch that I'll share it with you in later part of my presentation. All right. So Diploma in Health happens in Darwin because CDU main campus is in Darwin, but they also have campuses in Sydney and Perth, wherein they only run the health science program, and to be more specific is nursing. So the question you might have is that how does it work and why am I even talking about this? Can your student go to these locations as well when it comes to the nursing program? So actually, the answer is yes and no. Yes is yes when student will actually, so when you're going to make the application and processing, all that is going to be Darwin only. But when they will start the course, that's when they can reach out to the university team and request them for the change of campus option, which takes place after finishing the first year, because we have a limited seat in these 2 locations. So based on how many seats are still available and how students have performed in the first year, along with the English proficiency requirement. If all that is picked, they might have a chance to relocate as well. But again, subject to the head of department decision. So it's completely up to the head of department, who will see and decide that whether they can let the student to change the location or not. So if you ask me, I do not much talk about the change of location option, because then student build up the hope, and if it may not work out, if they have not performed well enough, always they put blame on you and state that, but you said that, and this is the reason why I joined. So avoid that. Just tell them this option available, but it is all up to how they're going to perform in the first year is what leads to this, and nothing to do with you or nothing to do with anybody in the admission team. All right. What is the passing requirement in your diploma program? So you usually need to pass in all the units and maintain 50% of your GPA to progress to the year 2 of bachelor's in nursing, and you have to give English proficiency test again. Now you may again have a question in your mind and may be doubtful about that. This is all sound good, but it so happens, or you may have experience with students, especially looking for nursing. They try so hard, they overall get 7, but because in one section they may not make it. And these are those students who have tried 3-4 times and now cannot or do not wish to do that. So we have designed our course in such a manner that there is a unit which emphasizes on the communication part, and I'll show you in later part of my presentation about that. The other thing is that if your student has given IELTS, okay, we accept PT and TOEFL as well. This is with my experience, and this is something that I have observed and called it as my experience, is if your student has given IELTS, able to get an overall 6, okay, you help them to prepare for PT, let them give the PT. Trust me, they'll get 7 easily in that. So university has no requirement that you have to give only IELTS. You can give PT, you can give TOEFL as well, and they're able to get it. And these students actually got that. So this is the reason why I'm saying. The other part is this is a structure that they study over the duration of 3 years, especially year 1 that I'm going to emphasize more about. The academic skill 1 in semester 1 and then academic skill 2 in semester 2. These 2 courses are more emphasizing on the communication part. What sort of communication are we talking about? The communication when you are communicating with the patient, when you are preparing the report, medical reports, when you are reading the reports. All right. So when you have certain such experience learning thing is taking place, you're not reading. You're practically applying those things. You're communicating with real people, because your student will also be a part of the practical nursing learning system as well. So this is going to happen, in fact, within the first year. But what we suggest to students, those who are approaching us specifically for this course, we are suggesting them that you do give your first English proficiency test while doing the semester 1, so that you get to know how much water you are in case if you get the required thing, fine. But if not, then you can appear the second one in semester 2. This is after finishing these 2 semesters, they have about a month and a 2 month duration of a professional experience placement training that takes place. So they in real go out to the healthcare units, they work with the patient, they work with the doctors, they experience themselves, and this is all during the first year. So the course is really amazing. If you ask me, I love the program, and I know how much opportunity it gives to a lot of your students. Year 2, year 3 is going to be bachelor's of nursing, like a regular thing they're gonna go for. So it's total 3 years in duration they're going to go for, and this is how a sample structure looks like. Especially for year 1, start in March, finishes in June mid, start in July mid, finishes in November mid, January, and a complete February, they'll be in a practical learning part. And then you have year 2 and year 3. Teaching and learning. So this is a proper classroom structure learning that takes place, because the intake is in March, and this is our health science students. If by then able to fly, great. If not, they may have to start the course online with complete all the units, not reduced study load. And I'll tell you the reason why. If you start with a reduced study load, so for example, I only start with 1 unit. My whole course is going to happen only with 1 unit. I will first do 1 unit, finishes in 2 months, start with another unit, finishes in 2 months. So my 1 year course is going to land up to more than a year duration. Okay, that's one. Secondly, because these health science related students are more in demand, because they are more helpful for the states to be there and start working around, they will be on priority to be called back first. So even if they have to study a month or two online, I think there is no harm. So please encourage your student for that. If they don't take it up, they have to wait for a complete year, because we just have one intake. So keep that in mind. The online learning, as I mentioned in the very beginning of my presentation, is very, very smooth, and trust me for that. Students just not from India, but all over the places. And you know that Indian English is far better. Students from other countries find it a bit tough to communicate around, right? So it's not at all difficult for them not to join the course online. They can comfortably. The online support is 24/7. The professors are available throughout. So they're not going to be their own, that they have nobody else to help them around. So do not worry about that. Entire material to study, everything related with their course material will be available on their student page as well. These are clinical experiences. So just for your information, a student has to complete the clinical placement, which is of a total hour of 880 in the duration of 3 years. So that's something that is compulsory for every student, not an optional thing. And these are usually the places they able to have that experience as well. And it's not just interacting only with patient or writing report. They get a hands-on experience on using the new sort of machinery as well. So any sort of machinery being used to train these students around, everything is a part of that works in. So clinical simulation contains clinical laboratories that your student going to work with and have a placement training there. They're going to also have a hands-on experience on specialized equipments, computerized mannequins. They're going to really have experience with, and a real life simulated practice, which is like working with the care units, being with the live agents, working around with the doctors, preparing the report, feeding the data into system, the kind of a software that they work with, everything that contains with. So what does it leads to? So I'm sure most of you must have a question. Will this lead to them to register as a registered nurse? So the answer is yes. After finishing the bachelor's program successfully, the students then will be eligible to apply for registration as a registered nurse with the Nursing Midwifery Board of Australia. And in addition to that, there are other accreditations also available that they can go for. So now let's move to the master's pathway that we have. So what do we have here is we have international master's preparation program. So any of your student who has, because of some reason, and this is so happen that your student academics are amazing, like superb, and English overall is superb, but because one section really pull them down. So this is for those students. This is called, in short, called as MPP course. This MPP course let you to apply to any master's program as long as they are fulfilling the academic requirements of the university. So for example, I want to study Masters of Engineering. I have a required GPA, but because of English, they ask for overall 6.5 and I just have 6. I cannot apply. So for those students, this is the course they have to go for. The requirement that you must need to fulfill is 6, no band less than 5.5. Look at the fee. It's hardly any. It's just 4,500 Australian dollars, and you can apply to any masters. Like I said, I'm repeating this so that you get no confusion. Your student must meet the academic requirement of university's master's course. Okay, if that is there, because of English, you're facing issues, you just apply for this. And in this course, there are no examination that take place. Your student assessment happens on the basis of essay writing, presentation assignments, because this is all about the communication, academic skill learning. So it's a written communication, the presentation skills, the oral communication skills. That's what they work on. What do we have next? We have International Masters Qualifying Program. So I'll just go back to this slide. So one student finishes this course, which is in a duration of 4 months, then they get into the first year of masters. And like I said, any masters you can apply for along with this course. All right, so then we have another category of students. Now, these are those students who are not even meeting up the academic requirements. So what options do we have? So any student who is from Section 1 university and has 50% and above. all right, can apply. If a student who's from section 2 and lower section universities have a 55 and above percent can apply. The program name is Masters Qualifying Program, as the name say. So the program helps students to, this is like a bridge program, because of your academics not meeting the direct entry, you join this program so that you fulfill the requirement and you get into the first year of master's program with the university. We have two categories of program under this. One is called as standard. This is like 2-semester course which student finishes in a duration of 8 months. And what English requirement we ask for a student must have other than the academics that I've mentioned to you is overall 5.5, no band less than 5.5. And what is the fee? It's 25,800 Australian dollars. Okay. And then what do they actually study? Semester 1 is all communication skill building, just like MPP. So no exams, you just prepare on your communication part. Semester 2 is very, very generic in nature. So this leads to a lot of streams that you can apply to. You can even doing this, you leads to health science, it leads to engineering, it leads to IT, it leads to business. So these are generic units. And why I'm talking about this to you? Just in case if you get a student who's very smart, has done the homework and come back to you and say that why I need to study business ethics or business communication. I'm taking health science or I'm taking IT. These are general and applicable to any industry that you work with or any course that you take it up. All right. Okay. The other course that we have is accelerated. So MQP accelerated is a shorter duration. You only spend 4 months or say 1 semester to finish this course. The fees is also half. That's about 13,000 Australian dollars. The English requirements are comparatively higher. That's overall 6, no band less than 5.5. All right. So if as long as this all you are meeting up with section 1 50%, section 2 and others 55%, just make your student application and you pay semester wise. So this is only 1 semester, you pay $13,000. The previous course that I've mentioned with 2 semester, you pay semester wise. So remember that. Okay. And what do you study? Generic units that I've mentioned in the previous course as well. And this is the progression available to you. The top programs we're not going to emphasize more on because this is focusing on certificates and diplomas. What programs we're going to focus on is about the masters. So we have arts, Master of Arts available. We have business administration with professional practice as well. We have data science, digital learning futures. We have Masters of Education in Global Learning. There is engineering, environmental management. There is health research. There is IT in cybersecurity, as well as IT in information systems and data science. There is nursing, but that's just for a year. Professional accounting with professional practice, public health and public policy. Now, the thing that you have to keep in mind when you counsel your student for the pathway is look at the main course duration. Okay. Like I said, MQP is or MPP, the English program as well. These are additional duration courses. Okay. So when your student finishes that, the main course duration is not going to go reduced. It is going to remain as it is. For example, I am going to do Masters of Business Administration. See where my cursor is 1.5 years in duration. All right. And I have to do MQP standard, which is 2 semester. So 1.5 years plus 8 months makes it 2 years. Okay. If I look at nursing, any master's program, any pathway program that I will take in, even if it's a 2 semester program like MQP standard, I'm still not making it to 2 years. Why we need 2 years is to have a post-study work right? So when you are counseling your student for any of the courses, you have to make sure that you are looking at the duration of the program carefully so that you cannot misguiding the student or not confusing the student. I'm sure you would not like your student after finishing the course get to know that they're not eligible for a post-study work, right? So just keep in mind this particular thing. Okay, let's learn about the requirements that your student must meet up. So MQP, section 1, 50%. Section 2 and above other universities is 55%. We take 18 backlogs. No gap is acceptable. No gap in the sense, a gap which is more than a year is not acceptable. A gap which is less than a year is acceptable, but with a genuine explanation why the gap was there. Okay, not an education gap, any gap. Like student was not even working, sitting at home and chilling with the COVID time. So you have to explain that. So 2020 was very tough, and people were just trying to understand how to cope that part, and a lot of things were closed, so you can count that part as a COVID time. But 21 was more stable. There were things, sometimes they on, sometimes they were off, so you have to have a clear explanation for that. All right, just keep that in mind. If they have done any course online, any certificate they have online, that all been considered, that will not be then called it as a gap. So gap is when someone did not do anything, just being at home or around, just having time of their life but did not do anything. When it comes to MPP, this is like a English sort of English program. So you have to check the university academic requirement on university site, and English you have to meet up our requirement, and then you're good to go. Okay, when it comes to foundation, if everybody is from India here, then you need to make sure that your student must have 60% if they are from CBSE board. If they are from state board, you have to make sure that they have 75 and above percent in year 11. So you may have other question, what if a year 12 student is applying for foundation because student doesn't want to study any of these? Okay, student wants to study early childhood. Then 50% or 55% is what we are looking for. Sorry, 50% is what we are looking for. All right. So when it comes to grade 12 student looking to study in diploma, business studies, information technology or health, make sure they have 50% overall. All right. So they are good to go in that case. Scholarships, we have progression scholarships. So the first year, they don't get the scholarship. They get the credit point though, but they avail the scholarship part in their respective year when they progress to. So foundation, it is 20%. Diploma and master's qualifying program standard, it's 15%. There is no scholarship on MPP and there is no scholarship on MQP program. How to apply? So I think the process is very, very simple. You know that you have to apply with the team first. They review the application and then process the student profile for the course that they're going to go for. So it is going to remain as it is. So the application happens through StudyLink, and it's not you can just go and directly apply. If you do not have StudyLink, you cannot make the application. So when you go on StudyLink, or when the team that apply to StudyLink, there is always a selection of courses which is there. You have to just pick the right course selection and process the application. University takes 24 hours to come back to you. If it's you making the application on Friday, of course, they don't work on Saturday and Sunday. Then you get a response by Monday. But otherwise, if it's regular weekday, like today I applied, which is Monday, by Tuesday or max Wednesday, you'll hear back from them. They are that fast. Documentation that you have to keep in mind to have while making the application. Student transcript from grade 10th onwards, based on whichever course they're going to go for. Okay. If it's for bachelor's, then you have to make sure, if it's for master's, you have to make sure that you provide full transcript of bachelor's as well as along with the schooling. English proficiency proof, you have to have that score as well. Passport front and back page copy as well. If someone having the work experience, then 3 months of a pay slip and 3 months of a bank statement is required. One important thing, if a student is married, okay, wants to apply, can apply. All right. But you have to make sure that the student's spouse is a graduated one and it's not just a high school pass out, and they have a good financials to support each other. And the statement of purpose very genuinely give a reason of why a student wants to study in Darwin and why not their home country and all that. The way you make the application for visa is a similar sort of a line they look for, and they are very strict with their whole process. Okay, make sure that you are providing the scanned original scan copy, not the photocopy scan. Make sure documents are genuine. Any document which has been identified as fake, the agency will lose their agreement, because we have no tolerance for the fake documents. They do the verification. If it's a certificate you have submitted, they actually write to the respective organization. If it's a result, they verify that online. If it's a financials, they write to the bank to ask for the verification. So please make sure, cross-check 10 times that if your student is submitting anything that you find it probably not the right one, do not create those applications. Please avoid doing that. When it comes to the people who are working, anybody who's taking salary in cash, As long as they are putting that salary in bank and fulfilling applying for the tax ITR, they can apply. But somebody who's getting a salary in cash and has no proof of it other than providing the payslip, do not make application with Charles Darwin. Also, when it comes to sponsor, 3 family member can sponsor one student, whether it's maternal, paternal, doesn't matter. That's absolutely fine. When it comes to agriculture income, make sure that you only show agriculture income as 20% part of overall sponsorship. It should not go beyond that. Otherwise, university will reject it. Okay. I think these are the most important aspects. If your student got a visa refusal and that is 3 years back from anywhere, university accept the application. But if as a visa refusal happened and it's not more than 3 years, do not make any application. And if it's a visa refusal, please do not take or do not try and hide the information, because immigration will get to know, if university get to know that you've tried and hide the information, again it will lead to a lot of pain to on agency part. So once the application made, 24 hours you'll get a response. All goes well, you get the offer. You then process your student for the GTE, so you'll get all financial transcript and all that financial matrix to fill in the details and send across. After the GT is done, then that's when your student gets a heads up to pay the fee and then get the COE. You get 2 COEs, one for pathway, one for main course, and then your student is good to go for the visa process. All right. So the process is simple. No ifs and buts. Just follow the drill, and I'm sure you can easily process your student for. So I've done this part. I'll move to orientation. So students studying in university campus access any and everything available. So that goes very smooth. Accommodation available. Your student can stay on campus, off campus. The most cheapest economical option, if you ask me, is on campus. You pay hardly an amount and you get access to any and everything. But of course, somebody who is not keen to study on campus, looking for off-campus options only, university team helps them with that. But subject to student has to do their background verification. These are the hotels available for us parents to stay in. These are some of the resources that you can visit, collect the information. Using on your social platform, you have to seek our permission. So please do inform us before you check anything or use anything on your social media platform. This is me. So I'm based here in Delhi NCR, very close to all of you. This is my direct and a WhatsApp number. This is my email ID and that's my Skype. You can reach me to whichever mode you're comfortable with, but you have to reach to the team first before coming to me. Until unless there is something that they cannot help you with. I could see one question is there. I want to know about scholarship in detail. Mamta, can you tell me what specific question, because I've covered the scholarship part already. So if this is the question before I mentioned about it, I'm not too sure. If you can unmute yourself and let me know, would be appreciated. All right, so I think no questions are there. So I will stop sharing my screen for this and reshare again. Any questions, anyone regarding Charles Darwin University? I think I've been very thorough with the whole thing. So it should be clear to you by now. If no questions are coming, then I'm moving to University of Tasmania.
Ritu, I guess they are unable to unmute themselves. Just
okay. They can write the question in a chat box in that.
Yeah, so fine. She has written, if you can just give again a glimpse about it.
Okay, so Mamta, scholarship at Charles Darwin. So when it comes to the foundation program, your student get 20%. When I said progression scholarship, I think that's where you got confused with. So progression means when you complete one level and you go to another level, that's a progression. So when your student join the course, they're going to get a letter from the university which confirms they're going to get the scholarship. And this specific scholarship amount is credited back on student as a student in a student account, which is with the university. So you could see like 3,450 amount credited, but this part they will only avail when they're going to progress to year 2. So in year 2 invoice, this scholarship amount will be deducted. All right, so this is what the progression scholarship is called. I hope, Mamta, I am clear with this. If still it's not clear to you, Please write a question further so that I can answer it again. All right, you mentioned okay, so I'll assume now you get it. Okay, so University of Tasmania, you all know, I don't think I need to give introduction about it. It's a little video I am definitely going to play for you because this covers a lot part of the courses they have and all together. Let me see if I have share my sound or not, or let me just stop sharing and reshare again to make sure that you get the sound again. So yeah, my sound is now on sharing. I hope you can hear.
Tasmania is a place unlike any other. At the University of Tasmania, you can study outstanding courses in one of the world's most extraordinary locations. Our courses allow you to explore nature and access adventure while you study through fieldwork and hands-on learning experiences that take you underwater, overseas, and across our incredible island.
We have 3 main campuses around Tasmania and a campus in Sydney. We have amazing opportunities to study abroad and see the world while you study, with hundreds of exchange partners across the globe.
In Tasmania, we foster close connections and we care about people. The last few months have been tough, but we want you to know we'll always have a place for you here at the University of Tasmania, online or in person. We've been working with schools and government to make sure we have a pathway for you however this year turns out. We're a community, so we offer community support, including academic help, free counselling, and the Rio Wana Centre for Indigenous students.
At uni, join a club or society and learn how to scuba dive with the University Dive Club, bond over group bushwalks or anime, or join a social justice club.
You can study online at the University of Tasmania from wherever you are and be inspired, informed, and supported by the best of Tasmania. Choose from over 100 online courses, including short courses.
We have more than 900 scholarships and awards, including relocation bursaries. On campus, we have more than 100 quality courses across 18 disciplines, allowing you to pursue your passion.
In agriculture, learn from the masters in the state that produces some of the world's finest food, wine and seafood.
Complete your degree in just 2 years through our business, nursing or paramedicine accelerated bachelor degree courses.
Study marine and Antarctic science to contribute to the global climate change conversation.
In Environment and Wilderness Studies, learn about conservation and ecotourism at the epicentre of the ecological protection movement in the only course of its kind in Australia.
Exercise science gives students the opportunity to work with Hawthorn and North Melbourne football clubs, Tasmanian Institute of Sport, and stand out in a smaller field of students.
Study music and performing arts at the Hedberg. Our brand new performing arts precinct is a $110 million learning space and state-of-the-art rehearsing, performing and recording facilities. There are plenty of work experience opportunities with internationally acclaimed festivals, the Tasmanian Symphony Orchestra, and visiting artists.
By studying architecture and design, you can be inspired by World Heritage landscapes with a focus on environmental and social sustainability. Work alongside pioneers in design at events such as Mona Foma, Dark Mofo, and Junction Arts Festival.
Our media school is the first of its kind in Australia and is housed inside the media's beating heart in Hobart City. Being collocated with a major news company gives you unprecedented access to journalists.
Our Australian Maritime College is the only tertiary institution of its kind in Australia and provides 90% of world trade and stewardship of the ocean. And these are just some of the exciting and distinctive areas of study.
We're here to help. If you have any questions or need help applying, our friendly staff are waiting for a chat. You can call, email, or live chat with us. Head to utas.edu.au/inquire to ask us anything. Applying to the University of Tasmania is easy and free. You can apply directly through our website. Applications open in August. Go to utas.edu.au to start your journey in a place unlike any other.
All right, so that's about University of Tasmania. A quick introduction, and it covers all the colleges that they have. So comparing with CDU, UTAS, honestly, it's very big. They have a lot of colleges under them. One important thing, though the video say that you can apply directly, but no, because we are in a high-risk region, so it has to go with the authorized agency. So make sure that you do not make any direct application. What happens? That then they put that direct application through one of the authorized agents. So if it's your student, eventually it will not get it and somebody else will get it. So please do not do that. So about University of Tasmania, you all know that it's very, very old. It's old to an extent that probably a family generation would be studying there. It has more than 100 programs into undergraduation and more than 150 under post graduation. Tasmania has been very, very famous for its research programs, and this is something that amazing about the university. And as we all know that it's very much in demand among these students because of the regional location and because it's again an affordable destination that students look to study for. This is a small map. As you could see, it's Australia map, and it's a little travel distance time which has been given that somebody if is flying from Brisbane to Hobart or via Brisbane to Sydney to Hobart or via Melbourne, it is usually take from 2.5 hours to 1.5 hours or 1 hour based on which location that student is going to fly through whenever that happens. About the content of this presentation. So again, just like CDU, I think this is going to be much quicker now because I have taken you with all the details in length in the CDU University presentation. So I'm going to talk to you about the pathway options available for bachelor's, whether it's in the form of foundation or first year diploma. And then I'm going to talk to you about the master's pathway available. So the first course in line is about foundation. So UTAS foundation functions differently as compared to CDU. Herein they have two variants. So what all remains the same? The student of year 11 who has completed year 11 remains the same. The age limit remains the same, which you could see on my screen. It has to be 17 and above when they start the course, not while applying, but when they start the course. And these things are going to remain the same. We have two categories of pathway available. So in CDU, you could see that student must study 8 months to get into the bachelor's first year. But herein, student has the opportunity to reduce the duration of their foundation program. They can finish the course within 4 months and then they move to the university bachelor's program. The fees is about 18,000. The English requirement is about overall 6, no band less than 5.5. And whereas, so yes, of course, the academics would be different, and I'll speak to you in later part of my presentation about this. The another variant is standard. So fast track is 4 months, wherein standard is about 8 months. So someone's English is a little lower, overall 5.5, no band less than 5 can fall under this category. The fees is not very high comparing with fast track, which was 18,000. This is 20,800. So you could see not much of a difference between the two. These are the progressions available, and the progressions are as per the colleges because they have a lot of colleges under them. So under College of Arts, Law and Education, you could see a listed program right here, which include arts, which includes early childhood, which includes health and physical education, fine arts, justice studies, law, media, and music. All right. Additional English requirement. This is related with the foundation core units, which is all English oriented. They have to maintain a required GPA in the program to progress to the first year of their bachelor's program. Under College of Health and Medicine, so you can see we have exercise sports science, we have laboratory medicine, medical research, medicine and surgery. There is nursing, there is nutrition science, pharmacy, psychological science, and social work. All right. So students who have done science, studied chemistry, definitely can go for pharmacy, can go for nutrition as well. Student done biology can apply for nursing, can apply for medicine surgery. Anybody coming from a science background can get into medical research or laboratory medicine. As long as the chemistry is there as a part of core learning, they are good to go to take up the courses here. And these are all very much demanding programs. Especially for nursing and social work, you have to give IELTS again to get a required score. So when you do foundation, you do with our English requirement. Before you get into the bachelor's first year, you have to give English proficiency test again to meet up the requirement. Other courses just ask you to maintain a required GPA in your English unit that you study while doing the foundation. Okay, so do not get confused about that. Under College of Science and Engineering, there is agriculture science. There is applied science into various fields. There is then applied science, especially in marine engineering. There is architecture. So anybody who's interested in to study architecture, this is the course available. They have design as well. They have engineering honors as well. They have engineering into various fields. They have IT and then marine and Antarctic science. There is natural environment. There is science. And then there is surveying bachelor's available, surveying sciences. So these are the courses that you have that your student can easily progress. Do foundation first, finishing foundation gets into first year bachelor's. What you do, you maintain 50% of your GPA. So whatever be the condition will be in the offer listed very clearly. And then last but not the least, we have business and economics. So you can progress to business, economics, or global logistics. Okay, so after foundation, we lands up to diploma first year. So any student completed high school, completed year 12th, class 12th, or grade 12th can apply for directly for first year diploma if they cannot get into the first year of bachelor's directly. So if anybody can study that. This is a similar timeline to finish his bachelor's. So no extra time, no extra duration, no extra money. You rather save money because first year diploma fees is comparatively lower as compared to first year bachelor's fee. That is one. And because of scholarship, you save a decent amount. And decent is about comparing the difference and adding the scholarship together leads to about $8,000. Depends course to course though. But yeah, and I'm sure student won't mind to save that much of money. The English requirement, however, is overall 5.5, no band less than 5.5. So yeah, that's something that you have to make sure that your student meet up. We have 3 streams, but right now we are only offering it into 2 streams. One is business, the other is science. So business is going to be a 2-semester course. The fees is about 25,500 Australian dollars. So you finishes a program in about 8 to 9 months, and then you move to your year 2 of your bachelor's. And these are the specialization that you study in your year 1 and then leads to year 2 bachelor's of business. So you have accounting, you have economics, you have finance, you have HR, management, and marketing. Other than this, engineering, we're not offering right now because borders are closed. So we thought to wait, see once borders open, once fresh student may apply, which we see in 24 happening, to be very honest. So then we will announce it again, and then I will speak to you again. So this time I'm just skipping this part. Okay, so science, first year diploma in science, again, 8 to 9 months, 2 semesters, they'll finish the course. Fee remains the same, irrespective of the stream that you study in first year as diploma. These are the specializations available that your student can take it up. The only one which we are offering online is computer science and information communication technology. Rest all are available, but because I hope you could see the nature of the specialization, it requires a laboratory experience or it requires a field experience to observe and create the data or record the data, which cannot happen sitting at home. So the student probably in July would start the course for other specialization, but at the moment it's computer science and IT because it's online. Like I said, a student who will start the course online will be called back. All right, student who's sitting with the offer and visa and thinking I only do my first day class there and then take a decision cannot happen. So please tell your student about that. Post-graduation pathway. So apart from diploma, we have the pathway available for post-graduation. Now, UTAS has a lot of options available for the undergraduation, but when it comes to masters, they are very limited to masters into business stream. So if you're a student who's willing to study anything with UTAS within business stream, they are more than welcome to apply. But if they're looking to study something else, then they can go to Charles Darwin University for now, or Swinburne, which I'll speak to you after this. The requirement that student must fulfill of English is overall 6, no band less than 6. The program name is Graduate Certificate in Business Studies International. And how does the course looks like? You do only 1 semester, which is about 4 months. And after that, you join masters. The fee of this program is about 18,000 Australian dollars. And this is how the progression looks like. So that's again a bridge course. So you spend 4 months extra and then you join the master's program. So this is what options you have. You have Masters of Business Administration International. We have Entrepreneurship and Innovation. We have Finance, specialization in finance. There is Marketing Management. There is advanced option available. Professional accounting specialization. So pre-master's preparation program, just like Charles Darwin English focused program. So if you're a student meeting up the academic requirement of university, if it's section 1, it has to be 50%. If it is section 2 and lower, then it has to be 55%. Sorry, my bad. that is applicable for graduate certificate. So sorry. So for pre-masters, no. For pre-masters, your students has to meet up the academic requirement of university. So if university say you must have 60% to study any master's program, then a student has, because of English cannot apply, then you need to make sure that they have overall English in proficiency 6 and no band less than 5.5. If university some program they say you have 70, you make application accordingly. So in short, if English is not matching up, everything else is matching up with university requirement, this is the course you have to look for. And what do we have here? This is again like CDU course, no examination, communication skill-based program that is going to be like assessment-based evaluation that takes place. The fees is about 8,500 Australian dollars. So they spend one semester here, which is 4 months, and then they join the university program. Intakes, we have 3 intakes, February, July, and November. So now you have February is available. So just make the application and let your student apply for this. Requirements. So the graduate certificate, which is for master's pathway, we're looking for a student, as I said, academic requirement for foundation. So for India, if it's a fast track, you need to make sure that student must have 60%. If it's a second standard, which is 2 semester, only if student got 55 and above. Okay. For first year diploma, if they have completed high school, we're looking for 50%. If it's a CBSE, but if it's a state board of Punjab and Haryana, we're looking for 65. Engineering, we're not offering online, so no point to talk about this. Okay. Because otherwise, orientation remains the same. The restrictions, the conditions remains the same. So there is no change to it. Agriculture income is 100% acceptable by UTAS. So no problem there at all. Okay. As far as the spouse is concerned, they don't accept it. So don't make application. CDU does, as I mentioned, but you have to make sure that the spouse is graduated and they have enough financials to support and a good SOP that supports. Okay. All right. So with UTAS, the process, sorry, I missed on that part. You make the application, you have to wait 7 days maximum to get a response. Usually it comes in 2 days as well, but keep in mind 7 days timeline. Once you get the offer, you do the acceptance and then you process your student for the GTE. And after that, once the GTE is done, you get the heads up to make the fee payment. Okay, so no need to worry that, oh, if you pay the fee early, what happens then? So no need to worry. They both, Charles Darwin and UTAS, follow the same process. They will give you the offer, then they process you for the GTE, and after that they let your student to pay the fee. And then they issue the COE, which is again 2, 1 for pathway, 1 for main course, and then you process your student for the visa. Pathway scholarship. So UTAS scholarship is not like CDU. So when you get the scholarship, you get for the current year. So if I get 10% in foundation, I will reduce 10% from my fees and then pay it as semester wise. Okay. So scholarship, you get 10% for foundation, 10% for graduate certificate, and 20% for international first year diploma. Other than this, we also offer progression scholarship called Tasmania International Scholarship. So any of your student who is among the top performing student doing the pathway program and depends on the head of department decision can also be considered for Tasmania International Scholarship progression. So first complete pathway, become the top performing student, and once head of department says that yes, student is qualified, then they offer this scholarship. This ranges from 10% to 25% for rest of the course. So this, please do speak to your student about if this is encouraging and motivating for them, why not to go for it. Student support and orientation. Your students study in university campus. There's university student access and everything available for them. So no need to worry about that as well. They'll enjoy being there, I'm sure. Accommodation, just like CDU, your student can stay in university campus. And if they want to stay off campus, they can. It's completely their decision. But the most cheapest economical option available is, of course, staying on campus. All right. All right, so this is me again, and I'm done with UTAS. See, I told you, now the presentation timeline is going to be much lesser, and I'm now going to share my screen for Swinburne. How to remember all things you said, Prashant? You will get the presentation, don't worry, to remember all this. And I'm sure whatever I am taking you through is easy to understand as well. Once you get the presentation, I'm sure it's easy for you to recall and see. So get in touch with Neha. She'll do the needful required. Just the last presentation that I'm left with, and I hope I'll finish this in much faster pace. I hope my presentation what do you call, the level is fine with everybody. I'm not too fast in explaining the things, right? It's easy for you to catch up with what I'm saying, right? All right. So Swinburne University of Technology, the very, very famous Swinburne University of Technology, as you all are aware, they have a lot of campuses, and they are the highly ranked university. They are very, very old, a very good name they have already developed in the market and progressing very well. So what we are focusing here, we are focusing on only on their main campus, which is based in Melbourne. Since you're all expert here in selling the Australia as a destination, I'm not going to put my time to why Melbourne as an option they should look for. These are the campuses that Swinburne has, and we only recruit students for their main campus, that is the Melbourne campus. Okay. So Swinburne is technically not in Melbourne. It's 10 minutes away, which is a quick ride to get into Melbourne, but it has everything accessible for a student, from dining to entertainment options available, even the public transportation. So they have this metro track, which is just you hop the wall and that is where the metro station is. So it's just across within the campus. This is about the Swinburne ranking. They started in early 90s, and they have more than 180 lakh alumni, which is based out that overall, globally, and some of their courses are among the top, category. Their overall ranking though is 300 in the worldwide university ranking. But if you look at ranking, some of their courses, especially into arts and design, they're among the top 50. For computer science and engineering, among 100 and top 50. For law, they are among the top 125. Civil engineering is 100. When you counsel your student, if you think these ranking would make a difference, go ahead and talk about. But usually, with my experience, if you ask me, Swinburne has been very, very famous. You really do not need to tell them about that this is highly ranked, you must apply. They will be very happy to study if they get the opportunity to study with Melbourne University. Okay, and as a pathway, we call it as a Swinburne Academy. Okay, so do not get confused there. So these are all school and departments they have. Under School of Business, under Swinburne Business Schools, these are the departments they have. These are kind of a specializations they offer as well, which is in accounting, finance, business, technology and entrepreneurship, management and marketing. Then they have a law department. Then they have a arts, social science and humanities school. A lot of things they have. They have media and communication, film and animation as well. Then in design, they offer communication design, architectural and industrial design. Health science, they have psychological, they have nursing, they have health and medicine, they have statistics, data science. Under science, they offer you chemistry, biotechnology, mathematics, physics, astronomy. Engineering, they have aviation, civil, mechanical, product design, software and electrical engineering. These are all the total departments they have. And apparently when you see the courses, as a pathway, your student can study with almost all of them altogether. So this one slide talks to you about foundation and diploma first year together. So Swinburne is very, very fixed with its structure. So whatever they offer as a foundation, they offer the similar stream in a first year diploma as well. So you have to make sure that only student who has completed year 11 recently, currently studying in year 12, and if you think you offered this to them, they are happy to take this up. Just make them apply. So Swinburne foundation is only for year 11 students. Swinburne diploma Unilink, that is first year diploma, is for students completed year 12th of their studies. These are different streams are listed, which leads to a lot of bachelor's program they can opt for. All right. So Unilink bridging program. Now it so happens at times that your student has not studied mathematics in grade 12 and wants to study business. Some of the universities ask for a student who must have business in their maths in their 12th. Some of them say, all right, if I want to study design, but I haven't studied design in my 12th. So they have this Unilink bridging program wherein student can take up this course, which is about 4 months in duration, can just study about that part they have not done in 12th and then switch to the pathway program of Diploma Unilink. This is how the structure looks like. So you start your course. This is only if you do not have a required subject, especially like mathematics or design. to study business, engineering, and design. Okay, so one subject if missing. So you do this for 4 months. And after that, you switch to the diploma Unilink for 8 months. So this makes it 12. So exactly 1 year you finishes this. No extra time you are spending any which ways. And then you move to year 2 of your bachelor's. So herein, these are the options that you progress to. All right. So a student hasn't studied mathematics or design, still wants to study the required field, they can. So please feel free and make them apply for the options like available here. This is for the post-graduation qualifying program for masters, and I really like the program. The reason is it's very short in duration, is very pocket friendly. We call this program as PQP in short. It's a postgraduate qualifying program. This leads you to student can progress to about 26 master's courses. Streams, if you ask me, there is a IT programs available. There are programs in business available. There are programs in media and communication available. There are programs in supply chain available. And then there is a program available in data science. So after finishing PQP, they move to first year of their master's into all the fields, whether it's HR, whether it's finance, whether it's banking, you have everything. So there are only 2 intakes for this program. One is March, the other is August. The fee for this program is about 13,960, makes it 14,000 overall. You study in the main campus, that's Hawthorne. You spend 6 months. What are we looking at? Anybody who has done diploma after year 12 for more than 3 years can apply. Anybody who got us English score of overall 6, no band less than 5.5 can apply. Other than the bachelor's performance, which is 50% if section 1 or 55 another if section 2, another university. Swinburne has been very famous for its placement structure. Most of their program comes with the placement or an internship structure, and the university really assists its student very well, and that leads to a student get a very good employment by the time they finishes their program, and they've been very, very famous because of this. This is some of the companies that are listed here, multinationals that are listed here, but if you go on their website, you could see it's huge, and students are having amazing experience. You know, these these industrial companies, they actually also do not mind to talk about Swinburne. You could see a lot of videos wherein industry people came forward and talk about how this placement program is really helping them to get a variety of students with so much of knowledge and information, and are a good source of nurturing them to make them ready for the industry. Student support and service, your students study in the university campus from the day one, and they'll be part of that throughout they finish their course. They access any and everything which is available. Swinburne Pathway Scholarship. So this is something that is there. We offer scholarship only, which is about 2,500 Australian dollars. So it's not too much, I know, but that's how it is. But what do they have very good is the progression scholarship. So the student who's maintaining the GPA of 60 and above automatically become eligible for a scholarship ranging from 10% to go up till 75%, from 60% to 95 and above, they maintaining into their pathway program. Do not get confused with bachelor's. This is just an example given here. Admission requirements. So foundation, if you're looking at, your student needs to have 50% if they complete their year 11. So the requirements are comparatively lower. The English requirement overall 5.5, no band less than 5. For Unilink, your student, if from CBSE board, must have 60%. If they are from state board, they must have 75%. And the English is overall 5.5 with no band less than 5. For post-graduation, as I stated, this is for direct entry, so do not get confused with. If it's section 1, it's 50%. If it's section 2 and lower, it's 55% they have to apply to. And it's overall 6, no band less than 5.5 we're looking for. Important information, if your students are from the State Board of Punjab and Haryana, then they are very selected states that they are accepting the applications from. So from from Haryana, they are accepting the application from Faridabad, Panchkula, Gurgaon, and from Haryana. And from Punjab, they are accepting the application from Chandigarh, Mohali, Amritsar, Jalandhar, and Ludhiana. If you have students doing the state board from these states, accept the application. If your students doing the state board from any other state which falls under Punjab and Haryana, do not make application with Swinburne, they'll not accept. But UTAS and CDU will accept. Okay. Also, as I stated, if your student has done the State Board of Punjab and Haryana, you have to make sure they have a 75 and above % in their program. List of documents is a similar set of documents that I have mentioned in my previous presentation as well. A same set of documentation is going to go be here as well. What else we have? So you need to make sure. So when it comes to Swinburne, the application process is a bit different. So when you select the courses, you first select the principal program and then you select the pathway. That's how it's going to take place. What else we have? If you're not directly agent with Swinburne, do not recruit student for direct programs. Like I said, if you are agent with agency here and they are partner with us for pathway, make sure that you recruit students for only pathway. Admission guideline. So you get an acceptance list when you get the offer. So what timeline do they take to process the application? Swinburne takes 3 weeks maximum to come back to you on your application. So be patient with them. For acceptance, you have to accept the offer and do the document verification. That's important. Any document, if it's forged, they'll not accept. One important thing as well, that they interview their student, whether it's before the offer or after the offer, during the GTE time, they do that. Make sure correct contact details, not just with Swinburne, even with UTAS and CDU. We have so experienced that a wrong contact details has been provided or it's an agent contact details which has been provided. Make sure correct contact details, that student can answer the phone call or emails that we send, can reply on that. Make sure that you are following that up and not, making student life easy. They do virtual interviews. Ask general questions, which course you have applied to, who's your agent, who's going to sponsor your fees and your cost of living. If they have experience, they ask things about it. Reason, just to see if student is able to communicate and understand what is being asked. That's about it. Okay, no technical words being asked. In case if it's a wrong application created, do not duplicate. Just drop an email on this email ID and they'll do the correction. If it's a deferral request, similar email ID you have to reach to. These are the documentations that I have stated you have to make sure to provide, which I have continuously talking about. So that's a similar set of a thing. Especially if it's a PT result, you have to provide a login details for university to log in and verify. Statement of purpose, wherein you mention why you have chosen Swinburne, why a particular course, or if you're changing the specialization, studied something, now want to take up something, or if you're doing a similar program again, you have to provide an explanation with that. If there is a gap of 6 months, explanation of that. If there's a work experience applicable, make sure that you also provide 3 months of payslip and salary of bank statement. Backlogs, they accept 15, so you can process the application. These are some of the conditions. If applicable, do not make application with Swinburne. If a student is married, whatever be it, like they don't accept at all. So UTAS and probably CDU is a far better option, not even UTAS that way. If your student has done nothing for more than a year, do not make application. You only make application for foundation if student has done year 11. If it has done year 12, then it's only diploma unilinked. If there is any previous visa rejection more than 3 years, you can apply. Less than 3 years, do not apply. Student universities which are not listed on NOSAR cannot make application. Okay, funding only accepted from maternal and paternal. A family friend cannot fund the student. And if student has studied distance learning, part-time or something, not during the COVID time, but otherwise cannot make the application. They accept cash salary. So if anybody get a cash salary, rest all is fine, just process it, okay? So once you get the offer, you do the acceptance, you do the uploading of all the documentation, you do the verification of your document from your end as well. So Swinburne, you get the offer, you accept, you pay the fee, and then they do the GTE. So their GTE happens other way. But trust me, Swinburne hardly gets any visa refusal. They are very, very focused with their process. Just make sure that your documents are in place. All right. Payment verification. So you pay the fee, you upload that on StudyLink. Financial metrics. So if it's a bank loan, you need to provide a sanction letter. And that's how it's going to be. And make sure that all the documents that you get has to be signed, stamped, look like use a digital stamp and verify them. And that's it. I am done with my presentation. And I know it's a very lengthy one. So you can have a tea after this just to try and absorb whatever I've shared. And if you may have any question, please ask. I could see a lot of people already left for this from the session. And I'm really sad about that, but can't help it because, it's quite a lengthy presentation and I just can't skip a lot of important part and do it as a formality. I really want you to also learn why you're spending so much of time with us. So please ask if you have any question, and I let you now to take up the things from here, Neha.
Thank you, Rupal. It was really very nice and informative presentation. Will you be sharing the present?
I will be sharing with you, yes, on email.
Okay, no problem. So we will be sharing the presentation with our agents. So they'll those who have left, they'll have all the information. If anybody is having any doubt or query, you may please put it in a chat box.
Yeah, and do give me your feedback if there is something that I missed and you want me to cover up.
Anybody? Anyone having any questions? I don't see any question, Rupal, but sorry, Ritu. So if we'll have any question, we'll definitely get back to you. So thank you so much. And I would thank all the attendees here. Also, this is the link of our series of webinars. So you can kindly join and attend the next webinar, upcoming webinar, and get information from here. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Ritu, for such an informative presentation. Hope to see you soon. And if there is any query, definitely we'll get back to you.
Sure. Thanks, Neha, and thanks for all the participants here. With no questions, I'm assuming that my presentation was far good, that it left questions as such. And thank you so much for your patience and time. I really appreciate that. Thank you again, Neha, for organizing this. And I'm looking forward, of course, for more sessions and a lot of applications. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.